Wants to prove to Mr. Glover that her baby is his, but he believes she is with him for his money alone.
Mr. Glover, you say Ms. Williams is a promiscuous groupie who hatched a complicated plan to trap you into accepting her child in order to cash in on your rap career.
The story on how they met isn't the best, and the rest of the story isn't far behind.
So I was doing videos in apartments that she was staying in. So everybody know me around every...
You a famous entertainer?
Yeah, I'm a famous entertainer, city to state, I'm everywhere. But first thing, you gotta make sure this is my child. First thing,
sure.
What you mean?
This relationship, when we first met, we
Ain't
were
no
friends. After he discovered that I was something that he wanted, he took me off the market, knowing that I had a whole nother sugar daddy taking care of me.
Ms. Williams claims that she had another guy providing for her.
I don't know who baby that is.
He was playing mind games, telling me he was going back to school, but he was making it work with his ex.
I'm hearing so much stuff about her going on in the neighborhood. She was talking to this dude, that dude. I'm like, it can't be my baby. She doing all these things and got sugar daddies.
She was dating both guys at the same time, and this is why Mr. Glover has doubts.
When he was consoling his ex, you went back on the market. You were having sex with other people then.
No, that's not correct. I wasn't having sex. I just got full time with my sugar daddy.
No dude don't give you no $3,900 just to be talking to you.
After they got back together, they got the good news. Mr. Glover was excited about the pregnancy initially.
You got back together and you found out you were pregnant. You told him. How did you tell him? Take me to that day.
I told him, no, he knew before me. He said, you know you pregnant. He was like, yeah, we gonna be a family. Oh, I hope it's a boy, because he already got a daughter. That's when Ralph got very insecure. I was always cheating. If I didn't answer the phone, I was cheating.
You are saying that you're convinced when you were broken up, she was also having sex with other people.
Yes, ma'am. Because when me and her started talking or whatever, when we got back together, she left and she came back, she started, she just was always defensive about everything. And then when she let me finish, when she came back, it was something about this situation. And she trying to pin the baby on me so she can have this mind right here.
According to Ms. Williams, she didn't have sex with any other guy. But Mr. Glover has a witness.
Ms. Williams, is it your testimony that you were not sleeping with this other man?
Correct.
You brought a witness.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear from this witness, and you are Mr. Glover's sister.
When it comes to a sugar daddy, a daddy ain't gonna be there unless you giving him some sugar. Her and my brother, they got into a verbal disagreement at the end of December 2016. Jaleesa called me. She asked me, could I go by their place to pick her up some clothes? Shoot me the address. And I brought some footage of the location.
You brought an exhibit.
To prove her theory, she brought some proof.
This is the hotel of the location that Jaleesa sent. So I called her once I reached the hotel. So when she came out the front door, I then pulled under the foyer. Jaleesa got into the vehicle. We had a brisk talk. She looked distressed, looked like she had just been roughhoused. After she got her clothes off the back seat, she exited the vehicle very fast. This is the vehicle that belongs to the man in question.
Sad situation.
That's incorrect, Your Honor.
What makes the situation worse is the fact that the day Ms. Nolan is talking about is awfully close to the conception date.
So it's your testimony that this sugar daddy was only there to help you get this room and you were not intimate with him.
Correct.
So how close in proximity was this day to the day she was trying to trap you?
She let me to her the next day, so I know this is a lie. That's why I say I cut the cake right there. It ain't my baby.
Mr. Glover has his name on the birth certificate, even though he doesn't believe he is the father.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yeah, around when I signed the birth certificate, I knew something was in the back of her head. So I think in her heart, she really wanted to tell me the baby wasn't mine. It's just been a whole lot going on.
What if Ralph Glover III is not your biological son?
I'm throwing the tools. I really just can't because she'll hurt me in the situation.
Let's get the results.
In the case of Williams versus Glover, when it comes to 10-month-old Ralph, Mr. Glover, you are the father.
So where's my apology?
But that don't mean I'm still gonna be with you though.
But you're gonna be on child support.
I love him from day one.
The real work begins now.
This whole Wilson wants Mr. McKnight to leave his wife for her, since they presumably have a daughter together.
You are in court today with your wife, and you testify you fell victim to temptation, but you weren't the only man. And you are 100% certain you are not Shakira's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
How did you even start sleeping with a married man? How did this start?
Okay, well, I was coming in to cash my check,
and I seen a wallet on the floor, and I picked the wallet up, and I seen his ID, and it said Ramon McKnight. And I said, I seen him at the job. I handed him his wallet. After that, I seen him numerous times, and then he just asked me for my number.
So how does it turn into a sexual relationship from there?
He called me. He was like, I wanted to see you. And I said, okay. And he was like, we're going to get a room.
Wait, so he just calls you and says, I want to see you, and we're going to get a room?
Yeah, we was communicating before, it lead to let's
get a room.
Yes.
Mr. McKnight's wife claims that Ms. Wilson's story is not accurate.
What she just said in here in court, that's not what she told me. She was the one who initiated contact. When Ms. Wilson contacted me, she said that my husband and her and some other co-workers were all powwowing and as in like hanging out. There was nothing sexual that occurred.
Me and Raymond was having sex every day. Every day we get off of work, he was coming to have sex with me. So let's come on, boo-boo, let's not get it twisted. Your man be sleeping with me every night. And when he lying to you, calling you, saying he's doing overtime, he's with me.
That didn't happen.
In my panties.
Ms. McKnight is trying to be the responsible one.
My position is this. Yes, I am legally married to my husband, and that's why I'm standing by him right now. But as a woman of integrity, I don't have to go back and forth with Miss Wilson. I don't have to try to degrade her. And I have children with my husband. If her daughter is, in fact, my husband's daughter, they need to know their siblings. I am not an immature woman. I don't feel the need to try and keep a man away from his child. I eliminated myself from the equation so that if he is the father, he can step up and take care of his responsibilities.
Mr. McKnight's testimony makes the situation even worse.
It started, as she said, she did find my wallet, but it was a co-worker that used to work with us. And he was telling me, like, you should try to get her. I was like, no, ma'am.
Your Honor, that's a lie.
But then he was like, you could go ahead and
that's
get her.
A lie.
And this same co-worker, me and him was sleeping with her at the same time. Me and him used to converse before we left work to find out who was going over there.
That's a lie.
Oh, that's just about nasty. Why would he want you to sleep with the same woman he's sleeping with?
I don't know, but a lot of...
Is that just how nasty you men out here acting? How do you get from work to in the bed with Miss Wilson?
I don't know, I just was tempted.
How were you tempted? What was she doing?
Like I said, when I found his wallet, he was very flirtatious. He was buying me Skittles, Pops, leaving there for me.
Where did you all go to have sex?
He paid for it, hotels, my house.
I've never been with her in my trip.
Your Honor, she knew that he was a married man.
Right.
And even if he pursued her, even if he bought her all the Skittles in the world, no woman's integrity should allow them to just sleep with the married man or be with him or continue on with him, even if he actively pursued her.
Ms. Wilson revealed everything to Ms. McKnight as revenge.
Initially, I found out because Miss Wilson did, in fact, call me on Messenger about 20 times. So I answered. She told me, I just want you to know because Ray is not telling you that we're together and we're sleeping together. And basically, she insinuated that he was leaving me for her. When I spoke with him later on, he said that she was upset because she had gave him an ultimatum. He told him that he was not leaving his family.
So he's telling the whole plant that me and him had sex. So I said, I'm going to call your wife. And so that's what I did. He told the whole plant that we had sex. You telling them about, our sexual relationship at the job. He was telling everybody that we was together. I'm not no mistress.
Ms. McKnight kept pushing her husband to do the right thing and get to the bottom of this.
Pressing to me was that he had no contact with her, that he hadn't seen her. I was actually encouraging him to make contact and to see the baby because I don't believe in deadbeat fathers. He's not a deadbeat to my children, and I didn't have a father growing up, so I would want no child to grow up without a father.
Mr. McKnight admits he doesn't want to be the father so he can continue his life with his wife.
Do you hope you are Kyra's biological father?
No, I hope I'm not. But, Your Honor, if I am, I would step up and take care of my child because I have 5 children from 18 all the way to 3. So I take care of all my kids.
Do you want to salvage your relationship with your wife?
I do, but I just got to work on getting me right first. I don't want to go back to her, and if I'm not right, I'd rather work on me first.
I'll always be his friend, but I would have to strongly consider and weigh all the possibilities before I would commit to staying in the marriage, Your Honor.
There's only one thing to put an end to this, and that is the result.
When it comes to 1-year-old Shakira Wilson, Mr. McKnight, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now you gotta figure out how to pick pick up the piece, but also raise this child with Miss Wilson, because it's you.
Things starts wild and it doesn't slow down. Ms. Toure comes in swinging, calling Mr. Lacey an absentee dad and saying he's definitely the father of her son, Trevon. Get ready, because these two are about to take us on a very bumpy ride.
Ms. Toure, you are in court to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lacey, that is the biological father of your adult son, Trevon Lacey. You state that the defendant has been an father full of excuses, and you want it all to end today in court with the truth.
The birth certificate has Mr. Lacey's name on it, but apparently it was typed in because he wasn't even there when Trevon was born. Ms. Toure admits she just gave the hospital his name. No big deal. And now he's the official dad on paper. Mr. Lacey is not buying it, though.
Your Honor, I could not have signed the birth certificate. I was incarcerated at the time, Trevon.
This birth certificate, child's name, Trevon Lacey's father's name, Larry Lacey, but it's typed in. Was he present at the birth?
He was not present, no.
You basically just gave them his name.
I gave him his name.
And they typed it in.
Yes.
Here's where things really heat up with a courtroom. He said, she said moment. Mr. Lacey says he got court papers about child support when Trevon was a baby, but he swears nobody ever offered him a DNA test. Ms. Toure's like, nope, you had your chance and you didn't take it.
I say Trevon probably was about between 3 and 6 months years old. I received a court paper, State of Ohio Child Support Court. We did both appear at the Child Support Court. The judge, he looked at me, he said, "This your son, you have nothing to say."
They gave him an opportunity for a DNA.
No,
if he had any doubt that my son was not his child.
No, they did not, Your Honor.
Okay, this is where the money talk gets kind of nuts. Turns out Mr. Lacey owed $37,000 in child support. Yes, $1,000, but he's worked it down to about $5,800. But don't worry, things get even juicier when another potential dad gets mentioned.
You owe $37,200 and some odd dollars in child support, which you have
knocked it down to $5,000.
It's past due. You've paid all of that. So throughout these years, you've paid.
I've been paying off and on. You know, sometimes during them years I was unemployed. As soon as I find employment again, then, you know, my wages start being garnished.
But if you thought their backstory was going to be sweet, think again. Ms. Toure spills the tea about how she made the first move on Mr. Lacey because she thought he was charming and they got together fast. Oh, and then we get the hilarious pajama story. Buckle up for this one.
I met Miss Toure was on the city bus and she was on the city bus, and she had oldest son to walk up to me and give me a piece of paper with a phone number on it. So when I looked at the phone number, I wondered who is this? So I turn around and I'm watching where the child goes. You know, Miss Toure, I looked at her and said, nice looking young lady. You know, maybe we can get together.
This pajama drama is straight out of a sitcom. Mr. Lacey says he came back from out of town and found another man at Ms. Toure's house wearing his pajamas, like top and bottom. Ms. Toure is laughing this off, saying the guy had his own clothes and they were just hanging out.
I had to go out of town and take care of some family business for a week. When I came back into town, I knock on the door. I see my pajamas. Miss Toure has on the pajama top.
That is not true to me.
The gentleman has on the pajama bottom.
Your pajamas?
My pajamas. I didn't create no drama. I didn't fight. I didn't do anything. I turned around. I tell my cousin, I said, come on, let's go. So we left.
Trevon's got the spotlight now, and things get real. He starts by praising his mom for raising 3 kids alone, but he also admits it hurt not having a dad around. He says he made some bad choices as a kid and wishes Mr. Lacey had been there to guide him.
I want to start off by saying my mom, she was, an excellent mother. She raised 3 boys by herself, all at different ages. I believe I done turned out okay. I have Larry's absence in my life, it definitely affected me in a negative way. I started having sex at a young age. I just wish if I had a father there, he could have pointed me in the right direction.
This part is like a soap opera, only louder. Trevon pours his heart out, saying he wants closure and a chance to have a relationship with his dad. The DNA proves it. Mr. Lacey flips it, claiming Ms. Toure kept him away, while she claps back, saying he's just trying to dodge child support.
I feel like if you were there, it was a lot of, heartache and headaches that I could have avoided. As far as my children, which I believe are your grandchildren, they have a right to know who their grandfather is.
True.
So I want to let you know that. I'm just ready to get these results so we can move forward in our lives.
This part had everyone holding their breath or yelling at their screens. The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this Mr. Lacey. You are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I told you. I told you.
Just found out that Ms. Clifton has not one, but 2 men fighting over the paternity of her twins. Mr. Little is in court to prove that he's not the father after generously footing the bill.
When she said you need a good mechanic, didn't she mean just in your Rolodex, not in your bed?
Yes, in my Rolodex. But it takes 2. I didn't proposition him for sex. It takes 2. Now, we engaged together, but upon dealing with this man, he awesome to me. He was a good man. He was about his business. I was like,
oh, what a mess. Turns out Mr. Little has a whole wife at home. Still, that didn't stop him from messing around with his clients. Maybe, just maybe, he should have stuck to fixing their cars and nothing more. Ms. Clifton started this whole situation with a joke, but look who's laughing now. She's the one who ended up pregnant. That conversation definitely blew up in her face, and now here we are with two men fighting over paternity.
We separated for about 2 years. I had started dating someone else. At the time, he had did some work on my car that it was costly. It was a lot. I said, baby, I'm hurting right now. I said, this is all I got. This is all I got. I said, matter of fact, my exact words is, I really need to keep my money. And he looked at me and he was like, well, you know what time it is.
Oh, Mr. Little, what are you doing? Looks like he's got more than one business going, running a little side hustle where he's both the car mechanic and, well, the service himself. Collecting sex in exchange for car repairs? That's crazy, sir. Ms. Clifton thought she was just getting her car fixed, but honey, she ended up leaving the shop with a lot more than an oil change. She left pregnant.
I get a random text from her texting this other guy about how much she loved him, cared for him, want to be with him, and I appreciate everything you do for the kids. And I'm like, wow.
It came to you.
The text came to me, and she was sending to another guy with his.
Well, well, well. Looks like Mr. Little got a rude awakening with that text. After all the time and energy he put into caring for the twins, only to find out it was all a mistake, that struck a nerve for sure. He thought he was doing the right thing, taking responsibility, but now he's left with more questions than answers.
The man could be the father of the twins.
She sent me a text one night. She said the kids have no Pampers, no milk. I leave my shop, go to Walmart, buy a big box of Pampers,
50 pack,
and 2 big containers of milk.
Now, that one doesn't sound good, Ms. Clifton. How do you expect Mr. Little to walk into your house and see another man around the kids you claim are his without asking you any questions? You can't just throw out those mixed signals and expect him to play along without a second thought.
Not to use him, but to get some help from him. I might reach out to you, Judge, if we ain't got nothing. I'm gonna reach out to the gang. If my kids need something, I'm reaching out.
And when you reach out to me, you will hear me say, don't have no kids you can't afford to take care of.
Absolutely.
That's why if you reach out to me, you're gonna get the real truth.
Judge Lake really laid it all out there this time. She took Ms. Clifton to school and didn't hold back. Everything we were all thinking, she said straight to her face. Ms. Clifton went on Facebook and reached out to a man she knew wouldn't let her down. But now she's trying to use the fact that he's handicapped as an excuse, claiming they didn't have sex. Seriously, Ms. Clifton, Judge Lake wasn't buying it, and neither are we.
You know, I taught my daughter to be self-sufficient. And if one won't, the other one will. When he stopped doing what he was gonna do, he left her and I to do what we are duty-bound to do, and that's raise them beautiful twins. And his whole long head,
I've always taken
So
care
what
of my
you're
twins.
saying is because he got jealous that
No,
she
Your
was
Honor.
dating other people.
What an interesting turn. Jealousy made him stop, huh? Well, I don't exactly blame the guy. He has been doubting the paternity of the kids since day one. It feels like he is seeing through her lies, if anything, especially since their mother is around so many men so often.
I incurred 3 infections at the hospital having his kids. I almost lost my life. I had to be in the hospital for a week. Mr. Little came and got me out my sick bed and said my children have to have my last name, especially my boys.
I just need to ask you this.
Now, we've finally arrived at the moment of truth. After all the back and forth, it's time to hear the results. Has Ms. Clifton been telling the truth this whole time? Or is there yet another man lurking in the background we haven't even heard about?
Mr. Little,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are not. What are you thinking?
I don't know, because to be honest with you, I actually thought they were.
Talk about a jaw-dropping plot twist. So, who is the father of these beautiful babies? Even Ms. Clifton's own mother was so shocked, she couldn't stop clapping.